Chair.
So again, there will be a consistency, but one of the areas will be in the re-registration of dogs. Will be an online process,
Yes.
which that is not at the moment, but the re-registration will be an online process, and obviously that's just a first step in terms of moving more in terms of the online or digital area.
And what about first registration?
Sorry?
What about first registration?
So the first registration will not be online or different or significantly different when we first go live, but obviously that is an opportunity as we look ahead.
Thank you. Councillor Penrose.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I just want to, Bruce, I just want to acknowledge the work, and as I mentioned before, this can't come soon enough, and in particular around our regulatory area. It's absolutely critical and vital for the growing of Auckland at the speed we're growing at. And whether you're in Te Hana in the north or whether you're in Pokakari in the south, we should be all talking to each other to get efficiencies and those cost savings across the organisation and to the wider community out there in Auckland. I do have a question, but it's probably to, I don't know whether I should take it offline or not, but it's around as we roll out the technology, and it's more in the regulatory area when members of the public, i.e. the building industry, are calling in, and sometimes they don't meet their requirements for sign-off, and they might ring at, say, 4:30 in the evening to cancel their appointment for the next morning. So it might be to take offline, and it's not getting through from our call centre to our building sector, and of course there's a lot of downtime wasted. And as you know, when our building guys are out there on the road, or resource guys are out there on the road, not only with the traffic movements on our motorways and arterial roads, it's bad enough for guys to try and get around site to site. And in any one day, when they probably should be doing 12 inspections, they can only get 6 or 7 in, depending on cancellations or the likes. So it's about a communication thing between our call centre and the industry. But I just want to, my main comment here is, as I mentioned, Bruce, is that look, what I've seen in the technology rollout so far in the regulatory area is great. Just keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll get that out there as soon as we can for the benefits of the organisation and to the wider public.
Thank you. I would need to, in terms of the question you had, I'd need to have some others around in terms of being able to answer it properly, so offline certainly would be better.
Yeah, I know, Madam Chair, there's a couple of issues with the some of the sort of the iPad technology, in particular for a wet day. I know it goes down, or the screen is pretty much buggered for about 10 minutes or something, so I'm sure you're working through that technology.
Thank you. Councillor Quacks.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Bruce, in terms of the key risks and issues, the escalations with the SAP as required, is that to do with licensing? And would you explain to me in layman's language just exactly what those risks are?
Yes, it's not licensing.
Not licensing.
In terms of what we're doing, it's around, and it's not around the quality of the solution we're seeing from them. It's around the pace that they are moving, in essence. And so we are working through that. We're escalating through Sue, who's one of our sponsors, through SAP as well. And we are working with them in terms of bringing their delivery into a time frame that is acceptable for us for what is that remaining part that is there. So we do have a plan with that. We have worked with them to do that, and we are now continue to keep that pressure on to ensure that they deliver to those dates that we have. And we, as I said, we are managing that at quite a micro level at the moment, because we're not talking about hundreds of items. We're talking about, in the low tens of items that we need to manage within that.
Okay, and this is to do with our moving forward, all the licenses that we have for SAP are adequate?
I'm not involved in the overall licensing much wider for SAP, so I can't really answer that question around the licensing. I can answer that we have sufficient licensing within Nucor and the Nucor program.
Okay. So we can probably get that for you offline, Councillor Quacks. Okay. Councillor Brewer.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I just had some brief comments. I suppose I just want us to be, as an organisation, somewhat circumspect with the on time and on budget, and I just want to, for the record, as I do at any opportunity with new core, and totally certainly understanding that the scope has changed and that the intricacies and knowledge of this project have changed from when it was first budgeted and costed. But let's not forget, while we before we pat ourselves on the back, that the quote from a 29 November report 2012, Madam Chair, in quote marks, total cost of the program is 71 million, made up of 58.1 million capex and 12.9 million opex. 2 years later, on the 20th of November 2014, quote, total new core capex costs are reset at 124 million. So you can see my cynicism when we're out there saying that we're going to come in with under our $156 million budget. The reality is the capital, that while the OPEX might have halved from 12.9 to 6, the CAPEX, the money we're borrowing on this has increased by threefold, by 100 million, from 58 million to 156 million. And so we just need to be cognizant of that, that this project has started off, we agreed, as a $71 million project, and we're now steering down hopefully coming in under a $156 million project. I'm confident, though, of Dean Kimpton and Bruce, with his commercial background, that we're seeing the containment, the discipline and the scrutiny that this project needs, and I'm looking forward, as is every ratepayer, to what Councillor Penrose just talked about, the efficiencies, the cost savings and the benefit to the organisation. Thank you.
I think we've been very lucky with our Chief Financial Officer getting a handle on it very early on and
Absolutely.
reining it in. Councillor Darby.
Thanks. So just on, you said the benefits of the system will show up when it goes live, but they would have been quantified in the business case.
Yes.
And that they had a dollar value attached to the benefits. So what are the benefits in, say, 15, 16, 16, 17, if you can recall, that will flow through in dollar value?
I'd need to look to get what the actual dollar value we had in 15, 16. I can say, though, that the benefits, as we get up to the annualised value of those benefits, is around 10 million per annum for those benefits. Is the annualised run rate that we achieve. We don't achieve all of those immediately at go live. There is about a 1 year lag towards achieving that, and we have 2 go lives in terms of the achievement of those, so June 16 and June 17 for those.
Okay, and the other question, Chair, is you spoke of, I think you said several hundred or 700 people need to be trained. Which?
It's 1,700.
1,700.
Yeah, 1,700.
So that cost of that training, is that within the new core budget, or is that ancillary, external to the new core budget?
It's within the new core budget.
It's all within that budget?
Yes.
So, okay, so all the ancillary costs to new core are taken from within that new core budget?
So those costs are included within the new core budget. I would make the point that we do not pay or cost the time of people who attend the training, but for the delivery of the training, the provision of the facilities, depending upon what they are that we need for the training, are covered within the new core budget.
So there might be some ancillary costs, but you would deem them minor and they're absorbed from within existing budgets without the budgets for which they were allocated causing other projects or programs to falter.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wood.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just in relation to front of house and call centres, I remember the previous chief executive gave us, some assurances that there would be some rationalisation in those areas of council's business. Is that included in the 10 million, or if we, really drill down, will we be able to get more savings than what we're talking about with the 10 million?
So there are some savings around that area which are included. So certainly there are a new core is what we describe as a foundational type of program that it puts in place the foundations you need to then be able to do a number of things to enable the council to do a number of things they may want to do. So examples of that is to do things such as to grow the digital services that they provide. So we provide some through Nucor, but it's about we put the capability in for that, and then they can look to do more on that. So things like further work around digital consenting and those types of things, but also around dog registration become opportunities for that. Equally, that applies with some of the front of house customer services type of activities as well. So there are some things within that, but certainly there is further opportunity to do more within that following once Nucor is live.
Okay, so, and property files, are they electronic? They're all in that state now, are they?
The vast majority of property files are electronic. There are still some things that need to be scanned to become that. So there was some work done, I can't remember if it was in Papakura Pukekohe a little while ago around that, where more of their records were paper-based. But by and large, they will be digital, and we are bringing those into a common or a single area within Nucor.
Mammoth task.
Okay, well, I mean, we're making progress, but I do believe that this council needs to look closely at how we do our business when this program comes alive, because if there's going to be cost savings that can accrue by rationalisation and changing the way we do our business from what we're doing it at the moment, I think that is the time to do it, because if you don't do it then, it'll kind of sit and we'll miss the great opportunity. And I know overseas, I mean, Taipei Council, I think there's higher use of IT or, people on the web, and they do a huge amount of their dialogue with their communities through the internet. So I think that's an area that this council needs to explore, because as the previous Chief Executive, Mr Mackay, said at one stage, he said you could probably rationalise the cost and the labour cost by quite a big percentage when he gets this Nucor in place. I think the figure he used to talk about was 20%. So that was a very audacious figure, I thought, but I think that's the kind of way we should be really attacking this issue right now. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you,
You'll put up an
Councillor Wood.
amendment.
Councillor Clow.
Oh, I remember it.
I know. You put up an amendment.
Yeah, there's no mention in there about the peer review that I thought was ongoing, EY or Price Waterhouse or someone, one of them. Is that still part of the work that's been done?
Through the Chair, Councillor Clow, yes, it's EY as the Quality Assurance Partner, and they report to every steering committee meeting on a monthly basis.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Thank you. Councillor Crum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No doubt a pungent amount of the budget sits with supplier SAP. So can you go back, for me, you've identified it in key risk category. What is the extent of SAP not meeting deadlines?
That's like an ugly smell.
Through Madam Chair, as I mentioned, the vast majority of the build and design and build has been completed by SAP. There certainly is around the 10% that is less, and that is left, and certainly that is late, and we are managing that through that. We did in June of this year sign a fixed price agreement with SAP around these services. So from a cost perspective, that price is fixed, and we have ensured that SAP bring on the appropriate resources to ensure that they deliver what is remaining. That is at their cost. There is no additional money that we will pay for that in terms of that. We have agreed working through our schedule in terms of how we can manage and what we need in terms of dates for the remaining part of that build to be delivered.
Okay. Right, we've had a good discussion. It's been moved and seconded. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. I think we're getting there, finally. Right, we have